When you think of the Pokemon Pikachu, what do you imagine? A yellow, mousy-looking animal, black-tipped ears, red blush, and a smile, right? But look deeper and think harder. Think of his tail. Was his tail just in black like his ears, or no? While many may believe Pikachu's tail has a black tip, the reality is that it is yellow. In fact, it has always been yellow. But if you thought it was black-tipped, you are not alone. In fact, thousands of people are in the same boat despite it never being factually correct. But why? This phenomenon in which a large mass of people believe that a false event occurred is known as the Mandela effect. Other famous Mandela effects include Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father," when in fact he says, "No, I am your father," and Mr. Monopoly wearing a monocle. These large yet common misconceptions have started jokes and theories of time travelers altering the past, but in reality, there are scientific possibilities into why this happens. First of all, we must know the origin of the Mandela effect. Nelson Mandela, former president of South Africa, was sentenced to 27 years in prison for leading the African National Congress, which opposed apartheid politics that kept South Africa's black presidents segregated. During this time, though, a large number of people began to believe that he died in prison in the 1980s. In reality, he died in Pneumonia in 2013. This sensation only recurred to paranormal researcher Fiona Broom during a conference in which she and many other attendees reflected on seeing news coverage of his death, as well as the speech by his widow. But after learning the truth, she was shocked that such a large mass of people could remember events in detail and all be incorrect. Thus, in 2010, she coined the term Mandela effect to refer to a large group of people collectively misremembering certain details. But why does this happen? Although there are no explanations set in stone, there are a number of possibilities explaining why this sensation may occur. A main cause of Mandela effect is false memories, and is generally what the effect is defined as. As Dr. Holly Schiff, a clinical psychologist, says, from a neuroscience perspective, when we recall memories versus remembering them perfectly, they become influenced to the extent that they can eventually become incorrect. A common example would be the Mandela effect phenomenon surrounding the existence of Alexander Hamilton. Most people recognize Alexander Hamilton as the founding father of the United States, but there's also a portion of people who recognize him as one of the early presidents of the United States as well, despite this never happening. From a neurology perspective, this occurs due to the memory of Alexander Hamilton being encoded in an area of the brain where the memories for presidents of the United States are stored. This may occur due to a simple misunderstanding or grouping Hamilton, an influential political figure, with other influential political figures such as presidents. So when people recall Hamilton, they set off a set of neurons in relation to each other, therefore recalling him as president. False memories can also be created through imagination, such as having an extremely vivid dream and confusing it for reality. False memories can also be attributed from a false source, such as a friend telling a story and then you later believing that you experienced the story yourself. False memories can also be attributed to illness and are a common symptom of hallucinations or delusions. People with PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder may also create false memories to mentally block out traumatic ones in order to protect themselves mentally and cope. Another possible explanation is confabulation, or the phenomenon in which you create memories that never happened. This occurs when a person creates small false details to fill the gaps of bigger memories without ever intentionally meaning to deceive anyone. This may happen when you mix up the time for the event that occurred or begin mismatching information. You essentially create memories to fill in the gaps and holes to create one big, concise memory. But one factor that has a huge impact on the Mandela effect would be the internet. The internet is a powerful tool to spread information, and of course, misinformation may begin to fall through the cracks. One huge example will be a phenomenon that began gaining traction as of recently surrounding Graggle Simpson. This falsehood consisted of edited images to make it appear that there's a forgotten Simpsons character named Graggle Simpson, who was later removed in later seasons. People began to create communities surrounding this falsehood, and these communities began to spread such misinformation to the point where people began believing it. I'll even admit that I fell victim to it before a couple in-depth Google searches. But this only goes to show the large effect that the internet has on spreading such falsehoods and passing them off as factual. But despite these theories rooted in neuropsychology and science, the Mandela effect is still a largely debated topic. As mentioned prior, some people like to theorize on the possibility of time travelers altering minuscule pieces of history. On the other side, some like to theorize on the possibility of alternate realities leaking into our own. But as more instances of the Mandela effect occur, there will surely come about explanations set in stone. Until then, to prevent misleading information, it's important to fact-check sources and always double-check on your own beliefs. Because as Dr. Schiff says, being that our memories can be reconstructed and are malleable, In order to retrieve false memories, you need to start teaching your brain the accurate facts of a misremembered memory.